Good evening, everyone. We're about to get started. It's 5:15, and I will call this meeting to order. In partnership with the tribes who called Phoenix their home first, we acknowledge and respect the land our schools are built on. We commit to being a strong partner with any and all tribal nations who entrust their children to our schools. We are grateful and honored to be partners. Ms. Sochi, may I get a roll call?
Yes, roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Ms. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa, Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have quorum to proceed, and we will get started with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to the adoption of the agenda. I do have some edits. Number one, if we can take out item E1. That is our minutes for the June 13th meeting, and our action item for number 2 should read discuss and possible action. With that, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
This is Carmen Trujillo. I motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Alicia Vink, I'll second.
Thank you.
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Ms. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are moving on to our awards, recognitions, and announcements.
Thank you, President Bueno, members of the board, cabinet, and our community. Today, it is with great pleasure that we bring several celebrations, beginning with our Star Awards. Let's see if we can have the slides. Thank you. So first we have Monica Laguna, instructional assistant at Herrera. Ms. Laguna is always there when needed and works hard to help each student. She is reliable and is capable of doing any task she is given. We wish we had 10 more of her after the flood that impacted Herrera. Ms. Laguna has been supportive of students and staff members in various ways. She covers multiple duties at both schools and is willing to do anything asked of her to support students and staff. Her work ethic is second to none. The 3 words used to describe Monica are capable, reliable, and patient. Congratulations, Monica. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Samuel Munkia is the physical education teacher at Herrera. We are very lucky to have Mr. Munkia as part of our staff. He is self-motivated and never hesitates to give of his own time to work with our students and find opportunities to engage with them. He is able to manage and teach all grade levels, hold high expectations, and works hard to get to know all his students. Mr. Munkia is confident and able to use a plethora of strategies at a moment's notice to best meet any situation. In fact, he has even included writing as part of his PE class. He is fully present as soon as he arrives on campus and leads his day with mindfulness. We appreciate Mr. Munkia's professionalism and his love of his craft. Some of the words used to describe Saul are professional, caring, and hardworking. Congratulations. Let's give him a nice round of applause. We also have Magali de Jesus Alvarez, family and community engagement specialist at Kenilworth. There is nothing that Magali can't do. She is creative, organized, and is always so supportive and helpful. She tackles every task with positivity and likes to think out of the box and produces wonderful ideas and follows through. The three words used to describe Magali are efficient, amazing, and wonderful. April Thorpe, kindergarten teacher, also at Kenilworth. Ms. Thorpe is a dedicated teacher who goes above and beyond for her students. She collaborates with her colleagues and works together to provide an effective classroom environment. She sets high standards for herself, her students, and those around her, and inspires others to do the same. She shares her knowledge, strategies, resources, and offers constructive criticism to help others grow. Some of the words used to describe April are knowledgeable, supportive, driven, inspiring, and amazing. Brianna Gaitan, self-contained autism teacher at Emerson. Ms. Gaitan is a phenomenal teacher who works tirelessly to help her students build skills and independence. She provides structure, visual supports, and communication at an individualized level and is always thinking about how to support the unique needs of her classroom. She is highly adept of meeting complex needs and advocating for those who can't advocate for themselves. Some of the many words used to describe Brianna are kind, innovative, patient, and understanding. Miranda Lehman, media clerk at Emerson. Miranda's always going above and beyond for students and staff. Her role extends well beyond the media center as she is instrumental in planning our Disney musical, helps with extracurricular activities, helps with students getting to specials, and is always lending a hand to help staff. She also plays a crucial role in our goal to get students reading. Some of the words used to describe Miranda are friendly, reliable, organized, patient, thoughtful, and dedicated. Congratulations. Paul Wilford, physical education teacher at Shaw Montessori. Coach Wilford genuinely cares about the children he coaches and teaches. He encourages them to do their best and nurtures their spirits. The three words used to describe Coach Wilford are caring, knowledgeable, and no nonsense. Congratulations. Benita Mesa, lead custodian at Shaw Montessori. Benita is so friendly, helpful, and always working. She's always positive, responds quickly, keeps Shaw looking beautiful, and is an incredible co-worker. The three words used to describe Benita are industrious, helpful, and lovely. Let's give Benita a nice round of applause. Those are our Star Award winners. Now moving on to our APS Supply by Class 500 gift card times 2 donation for capital classroom supplies. APS selected capital teachers, Amy Sacker serving English language learners and Nicole Freed serving second grade students as winners of the APS Supply My Class program. The program awards K-12 Title I teachers with the 500 Visa gift card to spend on supplies and resources for their classroom. APS surprised the teachers with a gift card on September 18, 2023. Congratulations. We are so proud to celebrate the Phoenix #1 transportation professionals who earned awards from the Arizona Association for Pupil Transportation. Congratulations to Betty Ware, 2023 Arizona Special Needs Bus Attendant for the Year. Christina Chow, and she's a 2023 Arizona School Bus Driver of the Year. Armando Cuellar, 2023 Arizona Transportation Supervisor of the Year. We appreciate the efforts of all of our Phoenix #1 transportation team and what they do each day to support our students in our district. And lastly, Bethune Young Circus Club on October 2023 for 10 highlight, Fox 10 highlighted one of our after-school programs at Bethune. We have a video to share that shows our students participating in the Phoenix Youth Circus Art Program. Let's play the video. Do we have a video? It's not clicking. Okay, we have a video. It's super cute. If you were recognized tonight and you are here with us, will you come up so that we can make sure that you get a picture with our board members? Please come up and we will congratulate you. Wait. Rita, we just. Let's do, please.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the awards and recognitions. And again, congratulations to all the awardees. We are very proud of all your work and everything you give to our students in our community. Moving on, we are B1, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, President Bueno, Vice President Trujillo, members of the board, cabinet, and our community. We received the formal outcomes of student academic performance based on state assessments specific to ELA, math, science, and English language learners. Letter grades were made public on November 1st, 2023, and the State Board of Education confirmed those cut scores. This also is the first in a while that the district will receive a performance score. So I wanted to share that Shaw continues to be an A-rated school. Bethune, Capital, Dunbar, Edison, Garfield, Herrera, Kenilworth, Whittier, and Magnet are B-rated schools, and Emerson, Hurd, and Lowell are C-rated schools. The overall district letter grade is AB. We are confident that with the focus on Tier 1 instruction, progress monitoring, student growth, and specific academic goals, we will make positive academic gains this academic year. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Sarah Galletti for leading the ELA curriculum adoption. We are concluding the first phase of the committee training to guide the adoption and will complete it at the end of the month. We will begin receiving materials at that time for the adoption process, which will go from December through March, and we'll have a recommendation after that. This past month, I also had the opportunity to attend the Great City Schools Council 67th Annual Conference. This past month in Arizona Association, I also attended ASELAS, and I am grateful for the opportunities Phoenix #1 provides for me to continue to build my own capacity and get validation for the work that is being accomplished at Phoenix #1. Areas being validated include focus on Tier 1 instruction and having a viable curriculum while ensuring that progress monitoring is taking place for students to meet the intended goals. Other learning included strategies to retain employees by offering a build-your-own model. With staffing shortages, many districts are creating their own workforce by building the capacity of individuals within our system and our community. I look forward to our continued work in this area. During our own professional development, I attended a session at Edison where Mr. David Vasquez delivered content on supporting defensive behaviors. The goal was to provide additional support with understanding the role adults when de-escalating students. As adults, it is important to recognize the need to remain professional by managing our own behaviors and attitudes. The strategies that were shared included using a soft tone, being mindful of our body language, speaking with a slow rate of speech and pace, providing corrective strategies, and allowing cool down time, just to name a few. Thank you to Mr. Vasquez for delivering the professional development and Mr. Fuentes for prioritizing this topic to support his treasure hunters. I also attended the Child Literacy Night at Burton Bar Library, and it was a huge success. Over 100 people visited and enjoyed the tours, activities, and each other. Big thank you to my tour guides. I told them that I would mention them. Students Steven Contreras, Torrance Stravitz, and Jasper Boner. Their customer care exceeded my expectations. Also, this month, we had our business lunch. We had over partners in education. We are grateful to receive the support from our community, and I want to thank President Bueno for attending the business lunch. Lastly, I attended the Phoenix #1 High School Expo. It was an amazing event. Our 8th graders and their families learned about the different options and were able to register at a high school of their choice if they so chose that was the right time for them. I want to also thank Vice President Trujillo for attending the expo. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to board members' reports. Would anybody like to share?
Madam Chair, if I might go first, please. I have a few of them. It's been a busy time since our last meeting. To build off of Dr. Davila Hagikat's reports as well, I'm very grateful to our community and the governing board for the opportunity to attend the Council of the Great City Schools annual conference and attend our effective school board cohort workshops. This experience surrounded me with knowledge about other urban schools, and I hadn't been to any other professional development like it. I got to meet I got to network and meet other board members and administrators that do this work for urban schools across the nation. So thank you all very much. I did attend the high school expo for Phoenix Union and got to get some swag for our classes. Hope to see more of those items in our schools to build up to those college pennants and things that we've already got up there. That was a really well-oiled machine. It's great to see the students that used to be in our schools now presenting for our students to make that transition earlier, a lot more comfortable, I guess. Being able to relate, I think, is an important thing for this transition, because here we are, this smaller school, and then adapting to those big, huge skills. It could be overwhelming, and I wouldn't go back for anything. Let's see. I got to attend a tour. Thank you to President Bueno of the Central City South neighborhood in our district. So it was, we learned a lot. The Phoenix Revitalization Corporation gives some information on what's here and what gems that we have that we don't always use. And then other things they make you aware of that we're not mindful of all the time. So that was a really great experience. I hope she touches on that more because she'll definitely articulate it a lot better than I do. It is Native American Heritage Month, so please be supportive of everything that's going on. Our at the expo was able to meet the lead for their Native American education program and connect them to our leadership. They gave them some postcards and stuff that were being given out to students that were coming to their table as well. So we got some for our kids, and I saw Sarah yesterday. She said she's given them all out already. So that was really nice. I guess one, I got to learn a little bit about our audit process. So thank you, Mr. Manley, for having that process start earlier this year. As a board member, there's got to be an inquiry that we do with our auditors. So I was able to learn more a little bit about the process, meet Mr. Manley's recent team member, newest team member, Miss Maria. That was really nice. I hear she's going to be our backup for Mrs. Valencia. Let's see. I was able to attend Garfield's fundraiser, their Peter Piper Pizza Night. That was really wonderful. I heard one of my kids came and I didn't even get to see him while he was there, but my other one came with me. So that was really nice. And tomorrow we've got I never get the name right, Garden on the Move, Garden on the Corner. Tomorrow, 1:30. So if anyone would like to go out there, I will definitely be out there. I want to buy some eggs. So that's all I've got. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I do. For my board member reports, so two things. Able to go with Cafecito, that happened earlier in the week, and I just feel regret that I did not know about the play that was also happening at the same time. I committed to the Cafecito, but I wish I would have seen the play. So if anyone went to that or has any reports on that, I would love to hear how that play went. But the Cafecito was awesome. Thank you to our family center staff members. I got to see them in action. I'm thankful for them for working collaboratively to provide a space for our community partners to inform our families of the wonderful resources that they have and offer. I was also able to be at the Equality Health Foundation Fall Festival, which was last weekend at Lowell Elementary School. So a huge thank you to our Lowell staff and leadership for just being able to hold a space for Equality Health Foundation, and a special thank you to our district cabinet and admin for working with Equality Health Foundation to hold this awesome event. Equality Health Foundation, in partnership with our school, with our district, was able to give away over 1,500 turkeys, and then a lot of produce bags. There was literally a line around the campus. It was hard to find parking, so this was one of the most successful events I've seen at our district. They also had over 80 community partners at this event, providing other resources. I didn't want things, but I have like a whole box of sanitizer and mask and stuff, and coffee cups that were just like thrown at me. So I could give those out if anyone wants some. So this festival is packed, and hope we can continue to form collaborative partnerships like this with the assets, the gems in our community, to continue to expose these resources to our families. I didn't get a turkey, but I would have been a puppet for someone and got them a turkey. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to that event, for working together to hold that event. It was wonderful, and I'm glad I was able to attend.
Thank you.
I'll go. I absolutely agree with Mr. Carrillo's sentiments on the festival at Lowell. That was incredible to see that turnout. So I appreciate that. I was also able to attend the Cafecito and our Indian Education Fall Family Festival. Thank you to Sarah Sims and her team for putting that on for our families. The Emerson Halloween Parade was fantastic and fun. And then I was also able to join some of our Head Start partners for the Equity in the Classroom professional development and film screening of the Black Boys movie. And I was able to attend the St. Vincent de Paul Restoring Hope breakfast, and am thankful for the work that both organizations continue to do in our community.
Thank you. I will share mine. So the week of October 23rd, Vice President Trujillo and I were in San Diego to attend a conference, but also we were meeting with our cohort. So this past year, we have spent our time focusing on student outcome focused governance, and we got to really work on our mindset training those 2 days. And the conference, again, just to piggyback off of Ms. Trujillo, the Council of Great City Schools is such a great organization that really focuses on urban education, and us being the first institute of the state of Arizona, I think it's something that we need to take really serious about urban education. So I was really glad to be able to be part of that conference. But the sessions that I really focused on were family engagement. So I got a whole bunch of great ideas from Denver, from Orange County, Florida, and how they really engage with their community and how they've set up some resource centers throughout their district as well. So it was really great just to hear and connect with others that are also moving this work forward of really engaging our community and families into the public education system. So thank you for that opportunity to continue my personal growth in San Diego. And then on November 3rd, I did get to host a tour of Central City South. So that is just the neighborhood south of downtown. And in that tour, we got to hear more about the rich history that the 13 neighborhoods that comprise of Central City South, which is home to Dunbar, Lowell, Bethune, and Herrera. So it was really great just to be able to go and drive through the neighborhood and see the history, see, just where the community lives. So thank you all, staff that was able to join us, Ms. Valenzuela, Ms. Baker, Ms. Sarah Sims, Ms. Dawn Baumgartner, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting. Oh, some of our faith specialists too in that area were also invited to learn more about the community. So thank you everybody that was able to join. And lastly, on November 9th, last Thursday, I was able to attend also the cafecito at our Family Resource Center. And we really got a great information from a health service provider. So they have a sliding scale. So if you don't have insurance and don't qualify for access, they will base their services based off of your income. So that is something just to be aware of, that if you do not have insurance, there are other resources that can really help you get the medical attention you may need. And then later that evening, I did attend the Garfield Peter Piper night. And I think it was a great day to do that because school was off on Friday. So it's just like, kind of like more fun. And, that was the weekend, the beginning of your weekend. So that was really cool just to experience all the kids' joy. And then they have this little corner where they play bingo and stuff, and they have all these little competition games. So thank you to Peter Piper for just all the effort they really put into hosting us. So thank you for everybody that participated. And that is it for my board report. So we will move on to item C, which is our student outcomes focused governance. Item number 1. So if you're new listening in or joining us today, I always like to ground us in our student outcome focused governance work. So here you'll learn a little bit about this governance model, the 6 components to it, and then we review our board goals, our board guardrails, and our superintendent guardrails. Next. So this framework is focused on that student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. So that means everybody up here on the dais and every single adult that is in our students' lives need to take this serious and really help our students and focus on their student outcomes. Next. Here's an introduction. We have it both in English and Spanish. So you will see that the 6 competencies that align this framework that include the vision and goals, our values and guardrails, our monitoring and accountability, communication and collaboration, and last, unity, trust, and continuous improvement. So while we understand that we are entering this framework, it's the constant improving that we're also committed to. Next. And here you will see the board adopted goals. We have adopted these. And you can see that our goals, number 1 and number 2, are really focused on our early childhood literacy and math. So you'll see our 3rd graders starting at a 29%. And in 5 years, we will get them to that 40% proficiency rate. Goal number 3 is around our English learners. So it's really great to hear how our ELL team is moving forward with adopting new curriculum. And we, in our goal, you see we go from 32% of this year to 50% in July of 2028. Our last 2 goals are focused around our 8th grade students in math and literacy. And you will see that we go from a 29%, 13%, up to 44 and 38. So with that being said, this is part of our monitoring calendar where we will be keeping up to date on the progress of each and one of these goals. Next. We have our superintendent guardrails. This is more so parameters that allow the superintendent to focus on. So when we're focused on our student outcomes, there's other things too within the district that need to be addressed. So in that, we say that in attaining the board's student outcome goals, the superintendent shall not allow, number 1, is the operate without reciprocal and effective communication between the board, district employees, and community stakeholders. Number 2, we shall not allow the district to operate without a human organizational customer service plan to foster trust and collaboration. Number 3, the superintendent shall not allow the district to operate without a system designated to recruit, employ, and retain diverse staff who reflect the community and meet the needs of our urban district students and their learning environments. Number 4, superintendent shall not allow the district to operate without a site budget process where resources are allocated equitably. And last, the superintendent shall not allow the district to operate without implementing a community-focused plan to mitigate student enrollment barriers. And these are also progress monitored. So we will be hearing from goal number 2 later, this next item. Thank you. Next. Last, we should have the board guardrails. There we go. So in attaining the board student outcome goals, the board shall not allow to direct or appear to direct staff on a day-to-day operations. The board shall not allow during regularly scheduled board meetings spend less than 50% of its time progress monitoring the board's student outcome goals and or superintendent guardrails. Number 3, the board shall not allow and deviate from the board's operating procedures. Number 4, the board shall not allow or negate newly elected members from experiencing a quality onboarding process. And last, the board shall not allow to be focused on inputs and outputs at the expense of student outcomes. And as you can see, we have our board goals posted in our boardroom. So that's a really nice ad. We have our guardrails over here to my left and board guardrails to my right. So thank you for getting all of those posted up. And I think that's it.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question? Or is that not okay? Okay. I'm just wondering on our share drive with the timeline thing, I'm not sure if I have the most recent updated version.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll make sure to get us the updated one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, then we will move on to C2, Progress Monitoring Superintendent Guardrail number 2. Pass it to Dr. Hakigat.
Thank you again, President Bueno and members of the board, cabinet, and our community. Today, we have the opportunity to share the Superintendent Guardrail Progress Monitoring for Guardrail number 2, which is superintendent shall not allow the district to operate without a human organization customer service plan to foster trust and collaboration. It will be interim guardrail number 2.0 that was provided in this report. And it reads, by March 2024, the district will support employees' knowledge acquisition of the Phoenix #1 customer care promise and standards, increasing knowledge from 5% during the 22-23 school year to 100% of employees demonstrating knowledge of the Phoenix #1 customer care promise and standard, as measured by monthly learning module assessments. And as you will see, the administrative team here broke this into quarters for how this was going to take place, starting with quarter number one, August and September. We had two leadership team and principal refresher capturing 5%. And then for quarter number two, October through December, we are looking forward to capturing 26%. And then quarter three, 66%. And finally for quarter four, arriving at 100%. Sharing here what is working is the emphasis on customer care with the goal of individuals feeling respected, valued, and cared for is being shared across the district. The information was shared with departments and site leaders, and then this is being then taken to department heads are taking it to their groups, and then we will have the sites also take it to their direct reports. And then we have what needs more attention. We want to make sure that our sites are getting ongoing support. We're creating these modules to make sure that they fit the different needs. We're also looking forward, not recorded here, but having a Spanish model so that our employees that are more proficient in Spanish are able to clearly understand what these are. And so with the goal of 100%, you see how we break it down in the percentages there, starting with 54, then moving to 256 on quarter one, 652, and then reaching those 988. We want to make sure that we have accurate attendance data collected during these modules. And so that is the monitoring report for Superintendent Guardrail number 2.
Okay, open it up to questions.
Carmen Trujillo, Madam Chair, if I might ask a quick one. Dr. Davila Hagigat, may we hear a little more about what the ongoing support looks like in the what needs more attention area?
Yes, for us, we want to make sure that we're creating the right level of modules here so that we're going to go through the 5 areas and we want to create scenarios and we want to be able to give that to whomever is bringing. So for example, for our principal refresher, we did an entire review, and then we had our principals engage in different scenarios. And so we want to be able to replicate that and do it both in person for them to have the resources. And we have some of that, but we are still creating to make sure that it matters to what it is that we're trying to target. The other piece, and I'll turn this over to Ms. Baker, because we're also creating videos so that we're able to share these starting in January. So Ms. Baker, can you share a little bit about that approach?
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, what we've really learned is that a lot of people connect to things that are story-based and scenario-based. That's the feedback that we've gotten. So on top of the original slides and presentations that we have, we'll make some videos to go with each module. So that way, after you reference the slide, you can go back and look at people actually acting out what those scenarios are. Here's the wrong way to do it, and here's the standard that we want to set for how people do it. So then they see the words, but then they also see the action attached to it. So we'll release those again, also reiterating the words that come behind what our promise and standards are also.
And in addition, we have what we call exit tickets instead of calling it a quiz or an assessment. And those exit tickets will let us know if people are capturing the message that we're wanting to put out there. And once we receive that feedback, we will know what other supports are going to be needed, because our bottom line is that later in the year, our stakeholders will be able to share with us their opinion on whether they feel respected, valued, and cared for. And so this is where we are starting to bring that level of cohesiveness.
Remind me again of what happens later in the year.
One of our other guardrails is around a survey. And so we want to make sure that we provide that information, we provide the support, and then we're able to assess ourselves on what has been the outcome of our efforts. So it'll be a survey.
Thank you very much.
I have a question about in the what needs more attention. Has there been any thought around incentives and ways to hit these quarterly marks?
We have not talked about extrinsic motivation in the way of incentives. What we want to do is first bring forth the information and see where that rawness brings us, but we have not talked about extrinsic motivation in the form of incentives for this type of work.
So then what happens if we do not achieve the 100% mark?
What we're wanting to do, it's very achievable to be able to do that. I think where we have still a little bit of a gap is we have some of our employees, if they need to no longer be a part of our organization, then we have new ones. So one of the gaps that I'm seeing right now is to make sure that in the onboarding process, this is something that we share with individuals. Some of my thoughts are even with the interview to let them know that we are a district that values customer care and these are the expectations. And so right now we see that we're able to reach that 100%, but I appreciate your idea of incentives, because if we get to a place where it's kind of, we're not seeing that we're going in the direction, that would definitely be something that some people are motivated extrinsically. So thank you for sharing that idea with me.
Thank you. And then I believe this guardrail is, I don't want to say mainly focused on like front office staff, but is there like an emphasis for the front office staff, and like what does that support and like continuous improvement look for the front office staff?
Yes, it encompasses everyone, but it started with the main focus of the front staff. They are the ones that created it. And so what we're doing, and Ms. Valencia has had an opportunity to be out with me on different tours. And so we want to make sure that it's real-time support. And if there's tomorrow, for example, we are going to have a meeting with our office managers and our assistant managers, and we continue to bring in what are some of the things that you're experiencing that you may be having challenges work through. And we do a lot of role playing. We do a lot of, this is what we expect. And so we're going to continue to bring that support through our monthly meetings as part of our customer care commitment.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, the training is around the customer service being provided at the school site.
We're doing a mixed model. We're doing both at the site, and we're reinforcing here at our meetings as well. We don't want to take any chances or create gaps. Sometimes we may have people that don't attend here, so the responsibility is being shared with us, bringing that ongoing support because we value the customer care for our organization.
Okay, and then in that so it is the customer care, customer service training. I guess I'm wondering, do we also kind of take into consideration if, again, using the front office as an example, do we take their role into consideration of how like they maneuver their responsibilities and their systems? Like, just because I'm asking, because sometimes if our systems that we have in place aren't really helping to support them to execute their job, that can like make them frustrated and then in turn provide like bad customer service. So my question is around like, are we also looking at all the systems, and are they well-rounded in knowing how to like navigate and execute their responsibilities?
Yeah, we're looking at the different systems that are in place, because what I believe you're alluding to is how are we supporting before we ask for them to be able to give that smile and to be able to show that it's a place where although frustrations may be high, they're also getting the support and reducing those frustrations. And so particularly our principals are the ones that continue to work with their staff. It's nothing that's been done formally, but for us during our meetings, we continue to ask to bring topics of interest, topics of frustration so that we can work through them. And so a lot of this is happening as part of our monthly meetings so that we bring that professional development to support, in some cases, just de-escalation, whether it be of students, whether it be, and how do you take care of yourself so that you don't reach that level of frustration and then become short with that next person that you face. So we'll continue to work with that support because there are systems that still need to be polished so that everybody feels that level of success that allows for us to have the right level of customer care.
During your time, have you identified what is not working?
I think some of what I have seen in my different visits is more around the pace of a school office where we have the different front office people tending to different things at the same time, the phones, the next student, the emergency, whatever comes there. And so I think it's really being able to allocate time in a way where people are feeling like they can take that breather. And so that's something that I have identified. And even in my own experience as a principal, I've always had to come out and see what are some of those frustrations, practice some of those interactions that may not be as friendly and see how do we bring that to a different level. So again, that's more along the lines of building capacity in that professional development so that no matter what comes into our office, that we treat each individual with the respect they deserve, even if they come with a higher level of emotion.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, is there anything that the board can help with?
I think part of the support that we've been able to get throughout from our board is as you share your experiences with us as you visit, that's very important for us. And as you continue to model just through your behavior, what's expected here in Phoenix #1, that's very, very helpful to us. And so anything that we're able to hear back both in a positive way where you have really excellent experiences and in a way where we can improve, you have an opportunity to see things through a different lens. So that would be very, very helpful to us. And in the future, if there are specific trainings that we may need to bring from an external source that we identify through this experience, that would be very helpful as well through your support, some of the procurement that we may need. Again, none of that has been identified yet, but I can see that as great future support.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I do have one quick question. Can we get an example of what this looks like for our students? You mentioned, sometimes that can have like a whirlwind, or maybe I'm just interpreting what I heard, effect when staff takes care of our students. And so I just wondered what those gaps might be looking like, or what that service to our students looks like.
Our students feed off of adult energy and adult interactions in every single way. And so I think as we continue to build this from our adults, they'll be able to really benefit from those interactions. They will be able to see a very, very caring environment where there's highly respectful interactions. But one of the areas here that's for the future is these customer care promise and standards are going to be in each classroom. And the goal is that kids can identify and say, ooh, really doing a really nice job with, and whatever that may be. And then we're able to also have our students check themselves. Are they giving that customer care? And also have a mechanism for them to say, I noticed that when you were here visiting, you had a grouchy face, or you had whatever my case might have been on that day, so that we have a very open environment where there's that trust, where people can come and say, this is what we're aiming for. Let's be collaborative and work together in reaching that at all levels. I think the individuals that will benefit most out of this will be our students because they will have that safe and nurturing environment that we all desire.
Thank you very much.
Hearing no more further questions. Can move on to C3, Progress Monitor Board Guardrail number 4. So we got some printouts of our board goals, superintendent guardrails, and board guardrails. Thank you, Ms. Valencia, for that. And today we will be reviewing number 4. And this is the board guardrail number 4. Thank you. In attaining the board student outcome goals, the board shall not allow or negate newly elected members from experiencing a quality onboarding process. So this part is for us just to have an open discussion around if we feel that we have been doing that and if not. So just open it up to, do we feel like we've stayed within our parameters?
I just refer to our last meeting where we did plan out the professional development that we're gonna go through. I think that's a good start for us. And where we could decide which conferences that we would attend. But we still don't have anything like, I don't know, any structure organization to that. It was just kind of like a one-off where we planned that. So I'm just wondering if that's gonna be a yearly thing, which would be cool.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Repeat what? Everything?
You said organizational chart? Is that what I heard you?
There seems to be no structure organization to that.
What
So
do
like having a schedule of, if we're gonna do that yearly,
Do it yearly.
do where we attend the professional development, plan that, where we attend professional development. Having a calendar of who's going to what. Just for me, because if I know certain board members are going to certain things, then for me, focus on district or just getting updated from you all. I probably won't go to that conference. If there's already majority of people going there. But I think we're off to a good start with this one.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. And yeah, I think we are trying to get into that rhythm of like setting up our schedule for conferences and development like that. So we would want to continue that moving forward. So thank you for all that feedback. Anybody else?
The way this reads to me is that the board wouldn't stand in the way of newly elected members experiencing a quality onboarding process. So I feel like, and if that is not what is intended here, then correct me, but our district has supported new board members in attending onboarding training such as ASBA or almost whatever we want. So I don't think that, I think we're doing well on that.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Trujillo? No? Okay.
Since this is new to us, I don't have anything new.
I'm sorry. I would like to add something. It's just, I think what we should add to that is a review of what policy says in terms of like out-of-state travel for us. If it doesn't say anything, that's fine, but just a refresher for us, but especially if someone's newly elected, so they kind of understand that we look at policy and then we see that sets the parameters for where we travel, how we travel.
Great, thank you. Okay. Yes, Dr. Vink, I would agree that it is correct how you are interpreting it. And so, yes, I would agree that the board does not interfere with onboarding process. I think, and I don't want to speak for our newest member. So I'm looking forward to get some input from her as she's, the newest one, and it's hard to remember our onboarding stuff. So I'll just leave it at that. So, all right. Thank you all for your participation. And we are moving on to D, community communications. Ms. Valencia, do we have any electronic?
Good evening, Madam Chair. We do have electronic communications. We have 8. And if I may, I'm going to start with our first one.
Just 1 second. I'm just going to read the rationale for the public comment.
Sounds good.
So we are moving into community communication. This is the time for the public to comment. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01G, actions taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or rescheduling the matter for further consideration and discussion at a later date. And we will be timing to 3 minutes per comment. So please go ahead and start, Mrs. Valencia.
Okay, our first one is from Miss Mary Bankhead. She provided an address and her role as a parent of Phoenix Elementary School District 1 with the student at Shaw Montessori. She says, hello, governing board. The governing board agenda for today has an agenda item about discussing / taking action on district administrator separation agreement. I read this as the governing board is planning to have an employee high up in the district fired, let go, asked to resign, forced to resign. This agenda item concerns me because depending upon who the person is, their potential contract payouts plus additional pay for appointing an interim can be extremely costly for the district. With enrollment declines, deferred maintenance, and other rising operational costs, I'm not sure whether or not the district or its coffers can mitigate financial and personnel impacts of the separation agreement. Further, depending upon the role, it could really impact the district students, especially if it is the superintendent who was installed by the governing board just over a year ago. If it is Sup Davila Hagiga, then this would be aching to musical chairs and make our district less attractive to potential applicants. Now, if it is someone who is stealing, touching kids inappropriately, or infractions of the like that bring liability to the district, then yes, by all means, they need to go. But if it is interpersonal, communication, or non-work performance issues, then I do hope that all parties involved can set these aside and focus on the students and educators alone. Warmly, Mary. You ready for the second one?
Mhm.
Her second one is from Marietta Madden. And she says, I love Phoenix schools. I grew up in the East Valley, but have grown to love the Phoenix area. I am an active parent and former educator and community leader. I am aware of the ins and outs of the education world. Last week, I attended the business luncheon and was so ecstatic to meet the superintendent and other members of the board and/or district staff. I'm looking forward to doing business with y'all. I was saddened to hear that Superintendent Dr. Davila Hagiga is being asked to leave. I'm not sure what proof is available that warrants one, but I do know the district will come to a financial blow. If I'm not mistaken, if she were to lose her seat, the rest of her contract will be paid out. Ouch. I'm not sure if y'all don't like her or if there's any other reasons why she would be fired. We, the community, have not been seeing evidence which would force her out of her position. Why can't that energy be shifted into something more useful, like hiring full-time substitute teachers at our schools, having mentors available for new teachers to our district, establishing a more concrete type of evidence to remove a seated board member, or even put together an event for Teacher Appreciation Week? My daughter has been with the district for 5 years, and she specifically chose her school. Over the other 4, we toured. To me, that showed how important Phoenix School District put the kids first. This year has been an unbridled one. All of the aforementioned issues are presently negatively affecting us, Phoenix School District. We truly need to double check our priorities and place the first one at the top: improvement of our kids and their classroom environment. I am available for more feedback, comments, she provided an email. We, my family, absolutely loves our school, and we want to see our grade improve to an A. Let's make that happen by focusing on the kids' academic needs to be successful in not just the classroom, but life. Thank you for allowing me to speak my voice. Sincerely, Nikki Madden. Our third one is from Ms. Nicole Wheatcroft and says the following: to the governing board of Phoenix Elementary School District 1. I am an Edison parent, a Shaw parent, and previously a Faith North parent of this district. In review of the board agenda for November 14, 2023, I was caught off guard to see the possible action item H1. This item is for an action for possible separation from what is assumed to be the superintendent. There has been no transparency to the community regarding any plans. There has been no opportunity for community feedback. This is extremely unsettling and disruptive. This is going to be an absolute stain on our district if the board moves forward with this vote. Furthermore, in what world would a respected superintendent want to come to work for our already struggling district when the board is willing to fire a superintendent after just 1 year? Why would they want to work with a leadership that threatens firing over unclear reasoning? Even by putting this on the agenda, I am extremely disappointed in this board's governing process. Our district has lost 25% of its enrolled students over the past 10 years, and this sort of chaos does not make us a district that families will want to come to. We are already sitting on multiple school campuses that are less than 50% capacity with no plan in sight from the governing board. Finally, this brash move with no documentation will cost our district hundreds of thousands of dollars on the contract payout, which our district cannot afford. I ask the board to take no action on this item and reevaluate the reason you are on this board. If this vote is not for an actionable item by the superintendent and just personal vendetta, you need to remember why you are on this board. It is for our children and their future. Sincerely, Nicole Beecroft. Third one is from Miss Clara Nicolini, and it reads the following. Hi, as a parent of a student in number 1 district, I am concerned about the possible contract buyout of the superintendent. I think the money should be spent on providing better resources and safe campuses for our schools, and a public reason for the potential buyouts should be provided if the district seems to think it justifies the cost. Thank you. Best, Clara Nicolini. The next one is from Mr. Brian Bonner. To the governing board of Phoenix Elementary School District 1. I am a parent of 2 students at Shaw Elementary School. After reading the board's agenda for November 14, I was extremely concerned at the lack of transparency behind item H1, which seems to bring action against the current superintendent, resulting in a parent termination. There obviously should be community engagement, or at the very least transparency for actions of this magnitude. I would strongly suggest that the board take no action on this particular item until the community has been informed of the reasoning behind it and has had time to react accordingly. Sincerely, Brian Bonner. Our next one is from Ms. Stephanie Gillum. Says, good afternoon. An item in today's meeting agenda has been brought to the attention of some of the district parents, and I'm sure you've received other emails of concern. The item of my concern on today's agenda is H1, and without knowing any further information, it's sounding like the board is attempting to fire the superintendent without the full board support. This sounds like a very quick, extreme, and financially reckless measure to take at this time. The contract payout alone would steal monies that our district deserves. I hope the board postpones this vote today, waits for the community's feedback, and is able to find a different resolution. Thank you, Stephanie Gillum. Our following community communication is from Ms. Adrienne Spaes, and it reads the following. Good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent Hagigat, faculty, staff, and parents. My name is Adrienne Space, and my address, she provides an address. I am a parent of 2 students at Shaw Montessori, and I am also a community member living within district boundaries. I am a strong proponent of public schools and very invested in the success of our district. For the past 3 elections where the district has put a bond or override the voters for approval. I have volunteered by canvassing and distributing flyers to help ensure the success of these ballot measures. I have issued comments to the legislator and once spoke at a committee hearing to advocate for retaining or increasing funding for public schools. I vote every election. I was surprised and disheartened to see discussion, possible action to approve separation agreement for district administrator as item H1 on the agenda for today's meeting. At the 11th hour, this agenda item was changed to read discussion possible action regarding employment of district administrator. However, my concerns remain the same. First, I have concerns regarding the lack of communication and transparency related to the agenda. It appears the board was considering terminating the superintendent with the only notice or communication to the community being a 2-line item located on page 14 of a 15-page agenda of a regular board meeting. The hiring and firing of a superintendent impacts thousands of students and their families and hundreds of faculty and staff. The board appropriately sought the input of the community, faculty, and staff in hiring Dr. Hagiga, yet it seems prepared to terminate or take other significant action regarding the employment of the superintendent after discussion at one board meeting. Second, I have concerns with the financial impact to the district of the superintendent if the superintendent were to be fired during her contract. Firing the superintendent in the midst of her contract will require the district to break its contract with her, resulting, as I understand it, in the district paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars to Dr. Hagiga. It is not clear to me where this money would come from and or what programs or services might need to be cut to afford this payout. Relatedly, if the superintendent is terminated, the district will be in the position of needing to spend additional funds in recruiting and interviewing to fill that vacant position. Our district, like others in Arizona, struggles with inadequate funding, and I cannot imagine choosing to spend this kind of money or transitioning to a new superintendent. Absent very good justification, especially when our current superintendent has been in this position for less than a year and a half. Third, I have concerns with the long-term impact to the district if the board were to terminate Dr. Hagiga at this point in her contract.
Time.
Our next one is from Mr. Ed Liu. Hello, it was brought to my attention through my community that there may be an action to remove Ibi Davila Hagiga from her position during tonight's meeting. It's critical that the board is transparent to the public about what cause, if any, that they have and why this item is even on the agenda. Working to remove the district administrator so shortly after taking office would only discourage other candidates from considering a position with the district. Additionally, the costs involved with buying out the current contract and starting the search for a replacement administrator are not insubstantial. I am always happy to approve bonds and school funding, but as a steward of taxpayer dollars, wise spending of our money by the board is crucial. I look forward to hearing how this agenda item got added to tonight's meeting and the reasoning behind it. Again, transparency and trust with the public is paramount. Thank you, Ed Liu. And that concludes the electronic community communications.
Thank you. Do we have any in person?
We do. I gave you the one card that I received.
Thank you. And for our in-person, calling up Marnie Burse. Is she here? No? Okay. So moving on. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
This is Carmen Trujillo, so moved.
Alicia Vinkel, second.
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are moving on to our information items where we will be hearing from our child nutrition department.
Thank you again, President Bueno and members of the board. We have Mr. Manley that will do the introduction for our next presentation.
Governing Board President, Governing Board and Superintendent and Community. I'd love to take this opportunity to introduce Miranda Martin, our Director of Child Nutrition. She is, based on some board asks, taken this opportunity to provide some information about the past, present, and future of child nutrition for Phoenix Elementary School District. Director Martin.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Hagigott, and members of the community. I am excited to be here with you tonight to discuss the child nutrition program at Phoenix One. This evening, we will delve into a few different topics to describe how the program has operated in past years, the current state of the program, and provide an outline of future goals. And then I'll wrap up and address any questions. So first, I will define the federal child nutrition programs and briefly discuss how the district program is reimbursed by the state and the federal government. So child nutrition programs are federally assisted meal programs governed at the federal level and administered at the state level, where state agencies operate these programs through agreements with school districts. On an annual basis, the district enters into a new Food Program Permanent Service Agreement, or FPSA. This legal agreement serves as a contract between ADE and Phoenix One, with the child nutrition director, the CFO, and the superintendent representing the district in the agreement. The FPSA outlines the terms and conditions under which the child nutrition program operates within the district. The agreement not only solidifies the district's commitment to providing nutritious meals, reaffirms its dedication to maintaining the highest standards in child nutrition, but it also establishes a framework for effective collaboration between the district and the state. It reinforces the importance of compliance with federal, state, local regulations, and exemplifies the district's dedication as a responsible operator of child programs. This bar graph illustrates the reimbursement rates that child nutrition receives based on the 3 student meal eligibility categories of free, reduced, and paid for both breakfast and lunch. To provide a comprehensive comparison within our district, we're also looking at the lowest and highest total meal costs for current K-8 breakfast and lunch offerings. However, I want to point out that we just recently discovered a calculation error in our food service management software. So the $6.10 number that you are seeing should actually be $4.95. And we're in the process of reviewing our pricing for over 330 items to ensure that they are all correct. But we're confident that that should be $4.95. I also want to note that the lunch pricing is based on the full meal that is offered to students. Students are not required to take all offered items at lunch based on the USDA's offer versus serve provision. The reimbursement rates shown here, which are severe need and non-severe need at breakfast and high rate and regular rate at lunch, are determined by the free and reduced eligibility percentage of each individual school. And the lunch rates shown here also include an additional 8 cents that we receive from the state in addition to federal reimbursement for having a certified menu. And now we'll take a brief look at child nutrition at Phoenix One in the past. So every 3 years, every school district in the nation that operates at least one federal child nutrition program goes through an administrative review with their respective state agency. It is an extensive review of compliance in many categories: financial accountability, meal counting and claiming, food safety plans, special diets, the wellness policy, and more. The review includes on-site visits as well as documentation reviews from the previous 3 years. The last review at Phoenix 1 was conducted in January of 2023, and it resulted in 39 findings. A thorough corrective actions report was completed in late May, and I'm happy to report that we have met the corrective actions for 34 of the findings, and 5 of the findings are in progress, and we are on track to be in compliance with the corrective actions based on the timeline provided.
Can you give an example of what the findings are?
Yes, so one of them that I will talk about was related to our wellness policy that needs to be updated, so we'll review that and update it.
And who's we?
The child nutrition team.
Is there a specific committee that is organized to do that?
Yep, we will form a committee, and community members, the public will be allowed to participate on that committee.
So is there a committee or you're gonna form a committee?
We will form a committee. Yep.
And it's gonna be called the Wellness Committee?
Yep.
Okay.
In 2021, ADE partnered with the Chef Ann Foundation, Lifetime Foundation, and the Whole Kids Foundation to offer the Creating Your Kitchen grant to 10 Arizona districts, and Phoenix 1 was one of the awardees. So as part of this grant, Child Nutrition has free access to a program called Green Onion, where internally we have the opportunity to closely analyze our menus and food products. And the program categorizes menu items based on what they call ingredients of concern, which includes artificial colors, artificial and unspecified, I want to make sure I get this right. Artificial and unspecified natural flavors, artificial preservatives, artificial sweeteners, and other sugar-free sweeteners, emulsifiers, and flour treatment agents. We ended the 22-23 school year with 73 inventory and menu items in the red, illustrated by this pie chart. And we have brought that down to 12 items in the red, and we'll continue substituting those as we are able. And now I'll move into sharing some of the changes and improvements that we have made to the program this school year. So as part of our commitment and dedication to offering wholesome and high quality meals to our students, we have introduced a few new items and improved upon some previous menu offerings. This school year, we introduced a Greek yogurt option to the breakfast and lunch menus. We have also reinstated multiple fresh entree salad options, including a taco salad. And we brought in a new hummus product that is made by National Food Group, which is a food manufacturer who develops products specifically for K-12 food service with the goal of meeting the USDA nutritional requirements. And we are currently offering their taco hummus and red pepper hummus, which comes with a mozzarella cheese stick and pretzels or tortilla chips as part of the entree. And additionally, we have replaced the previously individually wrapped pizza option. So our new pizza is whole grain, sodium reduced. It is par baked, allowing for the final baking process to happen in our school kitchens. So the pizzas are baked and sliced just prior to meal service, ensuring a consistent and appealing product for our students. And the pizza is also free of preservatives and artificial flavors and colors. And lastly, for this slide, deli sandwiches were also previously an individually wrapped menu item, but this year we are assembling sandwiches in our kitchens.
Do we currently source any of ingredients and products locally?
Yes, we do. Some of our, what we call DoD, Department of Defense funds that we get our produce through are local products. For example, carrots come from a local farm.
Thank you.
So while our greatest commitment is to the quality of our food offerings, we are also working on some non-food changes. As of yesterday, we had 7 cases of polystyrene lunch trays left in the warehouse. So as we deplete that inventory, we are introducing a new compostable tray. And we have also moved away from using plastic bags for individual breakfast and supper meals. And as I mentioned earlier, we have substantially decreased the number of products in our inventory and on our menus that contain ingredients of concern as defined by the Lifetime Foundation's Green Onion software. Some of the items removed included the individually wrapped pizza and individually wrapped sandwiches that I just discussed, as well as many breakfast items like menus or like muffins and benefit bars. So we're truly excited about being able to improve our menus for our students, and we appreciate our continued partnership with the Lifetime Foundation and their software. So while we are extremely excited about the progress and the direction of the program, and our team works tirelessly to make sure we're moving forward, child nutrition is still facing its fair share of challenges. Inflation and rising costs have had an impact on our department. For example, as part of our contract with ADE for the disbursement of federal commodities, we pay US Foods to deliver brown box commodity items. A year ago, it was $2.45 per case. And the cost this year is $7.50 per case, which is over a 300% increase in shipping costs. As another example, milk costs fluctuate a small amount monthly, but there has been about a 10 to 20% year-over-year increase in the cost of milk for at least the past few years, which is quite significant. And we're also still seeing an impact to the supply chain in terms of how long it takes to get an item and how often we're needing to substitute items. For example, we have been working on the procurement of the compostable tray that I just mentioned since July. When it comes to substitutions, we have just under 48 hours notice and often have just 1 or 2 items to choose from to make a substitution. So while substitutions are not required nearly as much as they were during pandemic years, we are still seeing it more often than pre-pandemic years. And now I will discuss some of our goals for the future of the program. I'm going to start off by quoting the USDA. School meals are a powerful tool for fighting food insecurity while protecting the future of our nation's children by getting them the nutrition that they need. Research has found that school meals are the healthiest meals kids receive each day, but we know that there is always room for improvement, unquote. Early in the year, the USDA proposed updates to the school nutrition standards that include added sugars, milk, whole grains, and sodium. Public comment was accepted through May of 2023, and the final rule is yet to be released, but we anticipate it to be released sometime this April. So this slide outlines some of the changes that the USDA allowed public comment on. And if all of them are released in the final rule, changes would start being implemented in the fall of 2024, and implementations would occur incrementally through 2029. And to enact changes in school meals regarding major funding needs and improve nutrition standards, legislation and policy play a pivotal role. So I always strongly encourage community members to be on the lookout for public comment opportunities and to please communicate with your representatives. This slide shows a concise overview of our current focus and goals. We are in the process of developing standard operating procedures and standardized training for our kitchen teams aiming to ensure equity, consistency, and efficiency across all school kitchens in the district. We are also committed to providing nutrition education. The photo on this slide captures a nutrition education lesson that we did at Shaw just before the end of the school year last year. Additionally, we are providing bi-weekly nutrition education through the fresh fruit and vegetable program at 5 of our schools currently. And we want to continue to partner with teachers to offer more nutrition education lessons for our students. And we will also be working on updating the local wellness policy to be implemented hopefully by next semester as part of the corrective actions plan from the administrative review.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the student committee?
Yeah, so that is something that will hopefully be developed through the wellness committee. We will, of course, invite teachers to be a part of the wellness committee, and through that, we would like to develop a student advisory committee where when we taste products or have new products to taste, the students would be a part of providing feedback.
Okay. I just also want to add to the nutrition education. I just had a meeting with Maricopa County Public Health Department, and they have a whole bunch of resources, including nutrition education, that I've invited them to the Family Resource Center. But also, if your department is also willing to partner with them, I think that they would really like that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Okay, these photos are photos that I took at previous districts that I've worked at, but it's part of the presentation goals that we have for our child nutrition teams in the kitchens at Phoenix One. So we are working towards these. In December, we are introducing bean and cheese pupusas to the menu, replacing our current bean and cheese burrito offering. A few weeks ago, the child nutrition supervisor did a taste test with students at Bethune, and they all loved the pupusas. So we'll also be offering a Mexican red rice along with the pupusas. At the time that I created this presentation, we were planning to add black bean and corn salsa and baked sweet potatoes to the menu, but I'm happy to let you know that these additions were introduced at all schools last week. And I just wanted to take some time to recognize my team because I definitely cannot take all of the credit for the improvements seen in the program. My team is really awesome. Tyler, who is our child nutrition coordinator, who joined us in July, has played a crucial and instrumental role in providing support to the kitchen teams and ensuring operational efficiency amid numerous changes. And Kaylee, our child nutrition supervisor, has been working diligently to learn all of the ins and outs of school nutrition. She ensures menu compliance and equips the kitchen teams with the necessary food and tools for success, and manages all the changes on a daily basis. Kaylee has conducted product tastings and she will continue to do so. So if you spot her in the cafeteria, please take a moment to say hi and try out what we're tasting. And then Paola, our child nutrition specialist, she stands out for her exceptional organization and deep knowledge of the team and the department's historical practices. I owe much of my smooth transition here to her wealth of knowledge. And of course, we could not do it without our teams in the kitchens, who are the face of our program, working hard to ensure that every single student is fed every school day. Thank you. Any questions?
Madam Chair, this is Board Member Trujillo. I was hoping to hear an example of the 34 out of the 39 findings, just what we're still working on, like what's, I know we covered kind of what our current state is, but a little deeper dive into what that looks like would be helpful to me.
Yeah, the majority of them are regarding the wellness policy, so 4 of them. And then one more is regarding identification of reimbursable meals. So we're working on that currently with teachers and our staff with breakfast in the classroom, and just ensuring that we are not claiming any meals that are not reimbursable.
What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so a reimbursable meal for breakfast in the classroom for us, the USDA would define a reimbursable meal as the students taking all items. So earlier I mentioned that the USDA has an offer versus serve provision that we use at lunch. At breakfast, it's different, and it makes it easier for teachers to just require the students to take all breakfast items than force the teachers to identify any differences in a reimbursable meal. But that is sometimes challenging because, of course, the students might not want all of the items. But at breakfast, we have to require them to take all items. Does that answer the question?
Definitely, yes. Thank you. I was kind of wondering about the plastic bags for the lunches or meals that are taken home. What does our take home, or what does that look like? I was kind of curious, like, what are we doing for breaks and things like that? How are we feeding our families during time off from school?
Yeah, so during COVID, the USDA issued weights that allowed us to send food home. But since Congress did not extend those waivers, we are unfortunately back to being required to do congregate feeding, which means no food can leave the campus. So we unfortunately don't have that benefit anymore to send food home, but we do have a supper program, which primarily is feeding our peer students, YMCA, but any student that is participating in an after-school program is eligible to get those supper meals. So, a good amount of our students, we're feeding 3 meals a day.
Any community engagement looking into the future regarding that, since we are at a standstill, having, different barriers in place with providing those meals? Is there any plans in the making for bridging that gap with partnerships or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think my main focus right now has been the audit and meeting those corrective actions and making sure that our teams are feeling supported, especially with menu changes. But we have talked with the Garfield team that does the community garden. And so we have hopes of getting involved with the community garden at Garfield and being able to provide nutrition education as well.
Last question. You mentioned the Lifetime Foundation. I was just wondering if you could give a little more info on that entity.
Yeah, so the grant, the Creating Your Kitchen grant, the Chef Ann Foundation is the main contributor. So we actually have an on-site visit with them right after Thanksgiving, and they will come in and give feedback on our current operational processes. And they are just a really good help with, if we have questions about even just speed of the lunch line, they're available for questions. And then we are also developing with them a plan based on our district to implement more scratch cooking and better menu items. So they are helpful in that as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Last clarifying thing. So regarding the findings dealing with the wellness policy, once those are once those are completed, that takes care of those 4. Okay. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yes.
Well, for your first presentation, you hit it out of the park to me. So thank you for providing a wealth of information on where we need to take action as a district. And I'm even more elated to know that you're already taking action and addressing these issues. You and your team. So just much appreciation to the entire team working diligently, working hard to make sure that our kids, our students have high quality food at their districts. As a teacher, it was always a struggle to get my students to eat their food. More so, I knew the funding mechanism behind it, understood that, but more so, just in the classroom, having quality food that they actually want to eat supports their learning in the classroom. So that was an incentive for me to be like, eat, right? Because I know that they would be hungry later on, and so I was like forcing them. But thank you. So I thought that having that high quality food incentivizes them more to want to eat everything on their plate, and helps our teachers, because I know I get pretty hangry when I'm hungry and I don't eat my food, especially when it doesn't look good. I would rather starve than eat the food that's not good. I'm a little bitter about pitting burritos against pupusas. I feel like that was wrong, but the student spoke, so I'm not bad about it. So thank you again, congratulations, and I have to promise to bring some good quality food to your team. Thank you, and that's all.
You're welcome, and thank you.
One question though, sorry. I'd be interested if we're tracking this or if the software, the Lifetime Foundation software that they offer us allows us to see the amount of food waste that's happening. But I don't see why we wouldn't be tracking that already, but you don't have to answer that now. It's just something to put on your radar.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you. I appreciate your presentation. My son, Lennon, was here for a little while, but he had to go. He is always very interested in lunch and lunch processes, particularly the tray situation. So he will be very glad to know that it's compostable. I'm sure he'd rather have the washable ones, just saying. But even though, I don't know, there's probably a break-even point, right, between compostable and paying someone, water, all of those things, right? So I appreciate you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item F2. Receive and discuss revised ASBA Arizona School Board Association advisory policy recommendations as a first read. Who will be presenting?
Dr. Gonzalez will present for us tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President. This is part of a regular cycle of review of governing board policies across the state related to changes in statute that have been enacted either through legislative work or State Board of Education updates. What you have here is a copy of the recommended changes that are applying to the governing board practices and policies that we have in place. And so you have a table that shows what the governing board policy is that's being recommended for a change, staff recommend a summary of what that policy is, and then a staff recommendation of whether it should be followed because it's in keeping with statute or whether or not it's something that does not pertain to us. In this instance, the one policy that did not pertain to us, we did not put it in because it was for districts that were smaller. So the only ones that you're looking at for your first read are those that do pertain and that are related to legislative changes or statute changes. So in the first read, the process is that you review the statute, the policies that have been brought before you. You can make any changes to those, give those changes to staff. Staff reviews all final changes with legal counsel to make sure that any changes that we make to policy are coherent with other policies that we already have in place and that we do not overreach our statutory obligations in terms of policy. So the first set of policies are from the ASBA policy recommendations. Are there any questions about those?
I guess it's not so much a question, just a comment. I'm I'm just not sure why we would need to postpone the adoption of the policy CBI, the evaluation of the superintendent, and the new CBI EB policy.
I believe that the recommendation for that was to postpone that policy because trying to ensure that we're staying in practice with our SOFG practices. So, and so that's one of the things that as a board group, you can decide that we don't want to wait until we've completed enacting our SOFG practices. We want to move forward with this. So that would be feedback that you would provide to staff. We would double check with our legal counsel that that would be appropriate. And then in your second read, you can adopt that.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, so the next set of policies that you have are a set of policies that have been brought forward by governing board members. These policies are related to, we can open those up. Travel reimbursement and to holiday celebrations. So in each of these are first reads. Staff have not had a chance to review these and but are accepting the recommendation from the governing board to review these. But at this time, you would be looking at these, providing your inputs and your strikes to anything in these. You've seen before when we've brought new policies to you that did not come from ASBA, where we do the redlining or the additional language to them. This is your opportunity in a first read to look at that and to discuss publicly any changes that you think need to be made to these. Then we take that, again, working closely with legal counsel to make sure that any changes that are being recommended are in alignment with our existing body of policies and that they do not violate state or federal statutes.
Any further discussion?
Just for this one, welcome any feedback from who's most impacted by the switches or staff about any guidance they can provide us on what we can or edit in this policy for travel.
And staff, we will be able to provide feedback based on the work. Mr. Manley has already begun looking through this to make sure that we are compliant with any procurement rules that we have to follow.
Okay. Thank you.
Nope. Okay. Hearing no further questions. Thank you. Thank you for the first read. And now we are moving into executive session. The governing board may convene an executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A4 for discussion or consultation with its attorney in order to consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding the public body's position regarding a possible separation agreement for district administrator. The attorney may appear in person, virtually, or via phone. So this concludes our regular session, pauses our regular session. We were moving into executive session at 6:58 and we'll be back to resume regular session. Thank you. Do we have Ms. De La Rosa with us? No. Okay. Are we ready?
So is she not gonna join or are we gonna wait?
Yeah, we can wait. Mhm. Mrs. Valentia, did you send her the link? Okay. Can you touch base with her? Monday? Okay. Ms. De La Rosa, are you with us?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Resuming, we are resuming back to regular session at 7:43. Moving on to action item. We have H1 discussion possible action regarding employment of district administrator. I would like to motion that we move that legal counsel be authorized to proceed as directed in executive session to negotiate a separation agreement and bring a proposed agreement back to the board at our next meeting. Do I have a second?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mrs. Regina Carrillo,
Can I explain my vote too?
No, I don't think so.
Jessica, am I able to vote and explain my vote too? I don't see why not. Okay, then. Big no, nay to this. I agree with a lot of the comments that have come in of community members that have expressed their concerns. It's unfortunate that we follow in the footsteps of a lot of districts that have done this, not just this year, but within the past few years. Having individuals come in who think they know best, who have claimed to have this expertise to lead a district forward and unilaterally make these decisions to separate depart ways with their superintendent. It's a shame that we're following in those footsteps because we all know those districts and the districts that have made those decisions without being transparent to their community. There is, in terms of what's been shared with me, nothing's been shared. And said they were surprised by this. I was surprised by this being on the agenda. So I mean, definitely had that quickly just to mentally prepare and to make a decision where, to me, I've seen no proof of having to go this route. In a time where in the middle of the school year, I've been in a teacher for 8 years. This is why I left the classroom, because of the toxicity, because students not being prioritized because of infighting like this. Again, it's a shame that we're here right now. and that's really going to have impacts in the classroom, in our community, not just for this year, but with our retention. Again, the comments have expressed all the common sense concerns. So with that, I vote nay to this because they're over $330,000, and that money is still going to climb. To part ways with our superintendent is unreasonable. So no.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
I'd like to explain my vote.
No.
When this board started our superintendent search not too long ago, it was the first search Phoenix L had done in many years. We vowed to our community that we would find someone who could connect with our families and students, and someone who would find the path of education in Arizona with us. When Amy came in, I knew that we had found the mama bear our kids need. A strong, speaking Latina woman with immigrant roots who knows firsthand the struggles our families face and is an expert in education. She's been in a classroom, she's been a principal, and she's led a district. In the last year and a half-ish, Dr. the chief financial officer, completed a project, supported master teacher positions, supported the opening of a newcomer center, hired a coach for principals, and signed on as the first in the district to go through the student outcomes focused governance process. Even with all of the successes, most importantly, looks at my son Lyndon, students, she really loves them and is committed to their success. This decision will hundreds of thousands of dollars in resources they desperately need. The Phoenix L community cannot afford to lose Dr. Davila Hagagat. No.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
You're on mute if we can't hear you, Ms. De La Rosa.
she lost connection. She's getting back in.
Can you call her, Sochi?
Ms. De La Rosa, we have you on speaker during our regular session.
Perfect. I
are-
was having issues with my internet for some reason.
Okay, are you ready to take your vote?
I am. Did everybody vote already? I didn't hear anything that was happening, but that's okay, I guess.
Yes, everybody has voted.
Can you catch her up on the vote?
So our vote call is Ms. Jessica Bueno, yay. Mr. Regional Carrillo, nay. Dr. Alicia Vink, nay. Ms. Carmen Trujillo, yay.
Okay. Sorry, I try to hear everyone's vote, but for some reason my internet is off right now, but okay. My vote is to proceed as a yes.
Thank you. With that, the vote passes 3-2. Moving on to H2, we are discussing our governing board meeting schedule. And any discussion?
Is this calendar going back to 2 meetings a month?
Yes, I'm sorry for not explaining that. We are moving back to, the hope is to move back to our twice a month board meeting, replacing the SOFG site councils.
Okay. Is there, what's the rationale behind the 2 regular board meetings instead of just the 1 regular board meeting?
Sure. So my opinion is that we were never prepared and ready to move to the once a month meeting. It was just recommended by admin, and it's not working out in terms of approving consent items and having to do emergency meetings like our finance meeting in October. This is why we do have 2 meetings a month to make sure all those procedural things are being taken care of. And now with this transition, I think it's best that we do meet twice a month.
Was this a cabinet recommendation or just a board officer?
Board officer.
Does it make sense to wait to change the calendar until we have things sorted out at least a little bit, like an interim?
And how would we sort that out without having board meetings?
Well, the next meeting you have scheduled is Tuesday, November 28th. And there is a week off for the students. I'm not sure how much of our staff works that week. So I'm wondering if they would be able to even prepare for a meeting on Tuesday, November 28th. And then Tuesday, January 9th is the same thing. I think our students come back on the 8th. So I'm not sure whether those are appropriate dates without consulting cabinet.
Well, I did work with cabinet on this to figure out the dates. So it was board officer driven to get back to 2 meetings, and then this is the calendar that we collaborated on.
Okay, so cabinet agrees that all of those dates are appropriate.
Yes.
Okay, I still prefer the 1 meeting a month.
Any other discussion?
No, Madam Chair, no discussion for me.
Okay, can I get a motion?
It's Carmen Trujillo, so moved.
Clarify the motion. The motion is to adopt the board calendar to 2 months, 2 meetings a month.
Yes, so moved.
And who second?
I'll second.
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Reginald Carrillo,
Nay.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa, I don't think she was able to get back.
You didn't keep her on the phone?
She hung up because she couldn't hear. She said she was gonna try to log back in.
A ver, llámale.
Your call has been for.
Okay, we can move forward.
Okay, Dr. Alicia Vink,
No.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
the vote is 2 and 2.
Okay, that motion, this item does not move forward. Moving on to closing items. I1. Any board member requests?
I do request that we immediately start looking for an interim superintendent or just move to fill for another superintendent position. With that said, with the vote cast tonight, Dr. Hayaga, it's been an entire pleasure working with you. Your level of professionalism, and the kindness that I experienced with you and respect I experienced with you was very refreshing. Thank you for navigating what I would say is hostile conditions in this district and doing that with, again, the utmost professionalism and how you carry yourself in public meetings. One just has to look at public meetings to see how you conducted yourself.
This is not a request.
How you conducted yourself. And again, thank you so much. And it's unfortunate to see you go. I'm sorry to see you go, but I know that you will go off to
With all
greener
due respect,
pastures.
this is not the time for this.
Thank you. I
Any
appreciate your
other board
service.
member requests?
None from me.
Okay, moving on to I2, future agenda items. I think your request falls under agenda items.
Is that the or I keep compliment her too now?
Again?
Oh, my request, I'll just echo.
Mm-hmm.
So same.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:58 PM?
This is Carmen Trujillo, so moved.
Second,
Alicia Vinkel, second.
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Ms. Erica De La Rosa, Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
and Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next scheduled board meeting is for Tuesday, December 12th at 5:15 PM. Thank you all and have a good night.